Welcome back after the break. Let's continue with question number 4. And we were busy discussing question 4.5 or looking at question 4.5. And if you look at figure 4.5, it shows informal trade. Now, our previous couple of questions, we look at informal settlements. It's places that lacks basic needs and services. Now, the informal trade is the trade that doesn't pay taxes, they don't contribute to the GDP. Now let's just quickly look at this figure. As you can see over there, this is an informal trade taking place next to the road. As you can see, they're selling fresh produce. And if we quickly read over there, informal means something relaxed, casual, flexible, and without rules and regulations. These rules and regulations, they don't pay tax. If we talk about the informal economy, then we refer to an economy which does not have rules and regulations. And like I've mentioned, they don't pay tax and they do not follow the law. For instance, like formal businesses. Now let's quickly have a look at the questions being asked over here. When is trade considered to be informal? And we just discuss it when there's no structure and when no tax are being paid. They are not registered. Now I'll give one point of evidence from figure 4.5 that represents an informal trade. As you can see, they are basically selling goods from the pavement. It's not like the formal trade. If you look at the figure over there, it's selling good next to the road. There's no infrastructure regarding like an office or a retail shop that produces electricity. It's selling their product wherever they can. And for instance, this example is next to the road. So give one point of evidence. As you can see, it's an informal trade because the selling of goods takes place next to the road on the pavement. 4.5.3 state 2 negative conditions that informal traders have to cope with on a daily basis. Now I can tell you one immediately. For instance, they've got no shelter against weather conditions. Imagine a hailstorm or extremely hot conditions, and they don't have access to services such as electricity and clean drinking water. Let's quickly answer this question. Say 2 negative conditions, and we've got mentioned over there no shelter, especially harsh conditions like cold winters or warm summers. They've got no storage facilities. It's unfortunate for them because most of them sell fresh produce, and unfortunately it can be perishable. So because they can't keep it cool, it might start to rot. So no storage facilities for them. Another reason, no toilets close by. So it makes it difficult for them. Who's going to look after their products? And unfortunately, unhygienic conditions. It's not controlled, can be dirty because of all the pollution, and they might lastly abused by authorities. Such as the police, because it's illegal to trade on specific places. If you could look at question 4.5.4, with reference to figure 4.5, 4.5.4 Describe how local authorities can improve the working space for the informal trading. Now, we looked at the harsh conditions. What can the authorities do? What can the government do to make it easier for these people? First of all, provide shelter. Now, especially if you live in Johannesburg, we experience our high-felt thunderstorms. Now, for instance, just shelter, like over here. Do some advertisement as well. Promote their business, make it look more attractive. Okay, another reason what we can mention over here, provide storage facilities. So once they close up, they don't need to travel with all their products back to home. They can leave it somewhere where it's safely and secured. And just provide them with a basic service, provide them with water and toilets. Okay. If we quickly look at our next question, name one negative implication of the informal sector in South Africa. Now, unfortunately, probably the biggest one, they don't pay taxes. We need those taxes to provide more services to the population of South Africa. So I'm talking schools, I'm talking healthcare facilities, and I'm talking housing. Without these taxes, the government can't provide us with this. So definitely not paying taxes. The other one is no income for the country, like I just discussed for you. The GDP can't be calculated correctly. So we are not going to know what our GDP actually is. And obviously, to improve the facilities of these informal sectors is going to cost the government more. So it's a lose situation for the government, a lose-lose situation, because they're paying for better facilities, but not extra money is coming in from these informal businesses. Despite the negative implication named in question 4.5.5, we're looking at question 4.5.6 now, the South African government and local authorities tolerate the presence of the informal traders. Explain why this is the case. Now, we allow this to happen because, first and foremost, so many people in South Africa works in the informal trade and it provides basic needs and services to them. For instance, food on the table. But let's quickly have a look at it. Basically what it does is it creates employment. Many people in South Africa is already unemployed. So what does it do? They take a chance, they take the little bit of money they do have left and they create their own business. At least they can look after themselves with the money they make in the informal sector. Another reason what we can have a look at is it's usually fresh produce markets. So it's like a local market. You don't need to travel far. You can get your fresh tomatoes over there or vegetables that you need for tonight's supper right over there. Another thing that we can add over there, it develops entrepreneurial skills. So it develops a skill so people can look after themselves and make more money. And lastly, it reduces criminal activities because people be rather working and try to earn a living than commit crime by stealing. 4.6 refers to the industrial regions, and as you can see, I've mentioned this before in today's episode. If you look at the PWV, by far the biggest industrial region in South Africa. PWV stands for Pretoria Witwatersrand Vereniging. It's in Gauteng. Now let's quickly have a look. If you look at figure 4.6, it shows the Gauteng area. And there's a couple of inserts over there. There's the Pretoria Witwatersrand Vereniging district. Now let's quickly look at the questions that's being asked over here. Refer to the insert A and select the letter B, C, D or G that represents Gauteng industrial region. Now let's quickly go back. Now the correct letter over there, Pretoria Witwatersrand. The correct answer will definitely be G. Name the main primary activity that stimulated the growth of Gauteng as the major industrial region of South Africa. And if you look, Johannesburg is also known as the City of Gold. The reason there were so many settlers settling down here is because of the discovery of gold. So the main primary activity that took place was mining. Discuss 3 problems that developed as a result of an overconcentration of industries in the Gauteng areas. Now you need to keep in mind, this is the industrial hub. So we do experience problems because there's so many different types of industries in the PWV and Gauteng area. And the first one is because there's a higher rate of population and it puts pressure on services. Another problem over there, there's more noise and air pollution. And what we can add over here as well, puts pressure on resources. Such as energy and water, because there's so many industries, they require more water, they require more energy to be more productive. And because of the influx of the population, so many people moving over there, there's going to be an increase in crime and social problems. And lastly, it puts strain on the infrastructure. I mean, more cars on the roads, put strain on the infrastructure, and because it's an aging infrastructure, it costs a lot to maintain. Now, if we quickly look at question 4.6.4, despite the problems associated with industrial development in this region is very important for economic development in South Africa as a whole. Discuss the statement. Once again, a paragraph question. Please do not answer it in bullet formation, but simple reason why is because most importantly it provides employment. And if you create employment, it provides people with basic needs and services that they can provide for their family. Okay, the products are being exported, so that improves our GDP, very important. It provides the government with money so they can improve services in our country. For me and you, better schools, more clinics. It builds, because of the exporting taking place, it builds trade relationships with other countries, and what can we say lastly but not least, attract foreign investments. So it means other country wants to do business with us, they see we are successful, and that's capital gain for South Africa as well as financial gain for our government. That's all we got time for today. I hope you enjoyed this question 4, and I hope you've learned something today. Stay tuned till the next episode. Cheers.